5 doesn't want officials to testify, and there's a reasoning why. Now we know why the 45 administration doesn't want officials to testify in the impeachment inquiry. Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, who's a Democrat from California, released the first batch of transcripts Monday from the closed-door depositions that included that of Marie Yovanovitch, if I'm saying the name wrong or right, I don't know, I might be saying it wrong, the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, who was removed from her post by 45 at the urging of his lawyer, scumbag Giuliani. If this is a sign of what's to come, Republicans will soon regret forcing Democrats to make impeachment proceedings public. Over 10 hours, the transcript shows they stumbled about in search of a counter-narrative to her damning account, and they couldn't find a counter-narrative. Jovanovich detailed a Hollywood-ready tale about how scumbag Giuliani and two of his now indicted coons hijacked U.S. foreign policy as part of a clownish consortium that also included Sean Insanity and a corrupt Ukrainian prosecutor. Their mission to oust the tough-on-corruption U.S. ambassador who threatened to frustrate scumbag Giuliani's plans to get Ukraine to come up with compromising material on Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Mike Pompeo has a cameo as the feckless Secretary of State who refuses to stand up for his diplomat out of fear of setting off an unstable 45. It all culminated in a 1 a.m. call from State's personal director telling Yovanovitch to get on this next flight out of Kyiv. Why? She said, "I don't know, but this is about your security. You need to come home immediately." Yovanovitch, overcome with emotion at one point in her testimony, said she later learned that the threat to her security was from none other than 45, who state officials feared would attack her on Twitter if she didn't flee Ukraine quickly. Confronted with this Keystone Cops way of governing, Republicans didn't really attempt to defend 45's actions. Instead, they pursued one conspiracy theory after another involving the Bidens, Soros, the Clinton Foundation, Hillary Clinton herself, and then the Obama administration, deep state social media tracking and mishandling classified information. They ate up a good chunk of time merely complaining that Yovanovitch's opening statement had been made public, which under the rules was allowed. Ambassador Representative Mark Meadows, who's a Republican of North Carolina, interjected, "Are you aware of anyone who has connected to you that might have given that to the Washington Post?" Representative Jim Jordan, fucking dumbass he's a Republican of Ohio, interjected, "Did you talk to the State Department about the possibility of releasing your opening statement to the press?" Lee Zeldin, who is a Republican of New York, jumped in. "Ambassador Yovanovitch, do you believe that it's appropriate for your opening statement to be provided to the Washington Post?" But 45 will need more than complaints about leaks to counter the narrative that Yovanovitch and others have documented. Ukrainian officials had told her to watch her back because Yuri Lutsenko, a Ukrainian prosecutor with an unsavory reputation, was looking to hurt her and had several meetings with scumbag Giuliani toward that end. Lutsenko was not pleased that she continued to push for cleaning up Lutsenko's office, and he tried to meet with 45's Justice Department to spread misinformation about her, including a now recanted falsehood that she had given him a do not prosecute list. She testified that wary Ukrainian officials knew as early as January or February that scumbag Giuliani was seeking damaging information on the Bidens and the Democrats, perhaps in exchange for 45's endorsement of the then squatter's re-election campaign. When Yovanovitch was attacked by scumbag Giuliani and dumbass 45 Jr., among others, she asked for Pompeo to make a statement supporting her, but he didn't do it because it might be undermined by a squatterol tweet. Pompeo did apparently have a private conversation asking Insanity to cease his attack on her. Instead of support, she got career advice. Tweet nice things about 45, which I would not do. Notably, Republicans didn't respond to her testimony by trying to make 45's behavior look good. They probed for ways to make Yovanovitch look bad. They suggested she was part of a diplomatic conspiracy to monitor 45's allies such as Laura Ingraham, Lou Dobbs, and Sebastian Gorka, all three inbreeding rednecks. They probed for damaging details on the Bidens. Were you aware of just how much money Hunter Biden was getting paid by Burisma, and for ways to damage her credibility? What was the closest that you worked with Vice President Biden? Maybe Ukraine really did try to help Clinton in 2016. They posited, which wasn't true. They didn't find that out. Maybe Ukrainian officials were trying to sabotage 45, which nobody has to sabotage 45. So 45 is capable of sabotaging himself on his own. They asked if she ever said anything that might have led something to infer a negative connotation regarding 45. Meadows, struggling mightily to prove some wrongdoing by Yumba, and the note front he couldn't pronounce the names he had been given, so he spelled them out. "I'm sorry, I'm not Ukrainian," he said. "Neither am I," she replied. "Now, see, she's what she no, she's what threatens 45 most, an honest American, and anybody who supports 45 isn't an honest person."